Hello, I was waiting for you to arrive. Promise you won't leave next. Click the subscribe button and I want to see you here every day. Promise?
Choi Ha-eun trusted no one to test her company's products. If Queen's Group was going to launch a new line of extreme sportswear, she, the billionaire CEO from Seoul, would test it herself. That was why, on a Tuesday afternoon, she was paragliding over a forested mountain near the capital. The wind is perfect, she told her team over the radio, but nature does not obey CEOs. Suddenly, the sky darkened. A tornado, a rare occurrence on the Korean peninsula, formed out of nowhere. Ha-eun screamed. The radio hissed with static and lost signal. She was sucked into the vortex, spinning uncontrollably until she lost consciousness. When she woke up, she was hanging from a gigantic tree 15 feet off the ground. Her paraglider was shredded. The silence was absolute. No car noises, no soul sirens, only birds and wind. Hello! Rescue team? She shouted. No one answered. She heard a twig snap. Someone was approaching. Thank God! She yelled. Hey! Up here! I'm Choi. I'll pay a reward if you get me down. A man appeared at the base of the tree. He was tall, broad-shouldered, with a face that looked carved from stone. But he wasn't wearing a South Korean rescue uniform. He was wearing an olive green military uniform with a red star on the cap, and he was pointing a rifle at her. Come down, the man ordered. His voice was cold, with a northern accent Ha-eun had only heard in spy movies. Ha-eun climbed down clumsily, falling straight into his arms. He held her for a second long enough for her to notice he smelled of soap and gunpowder and then released her. Pointing the gun again. Name and unit, he said. Unit, I'm a CEO. I was flying in Seoul and the wind brought me quotes. Ha-eun stopped. She looked at the badge on his chest. She looked at the pristine forest. Where am I? You are in the Demilitarized zone, said Captain Im Ryung-gu, on the side of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Are you a South Korean spy? Ha-eun felt her legs tremble. North Korea! If she were caught, she would be imprisoned, interrogated, or executed. No one knew she was there. No, it was an accident. Look at my clothes. Look at my hair. Spies don't wear diamond earrings. Ryung-ji observed her. She looked like a creature from another world. Ridiculous and terrified. Protocol required him to take her to the State Security Department. But he knew what happened there. She would die before she could explain anything. Suddenly, voices were heard in the distance. The patrol was coming! If they find you, you die? Ryung-ji said. Ha-eun looked at him pleadingly. Please! Ryung-gi made a decision that could cost him his life. He grabbed her arm and dragged her behind a thick tree, covering her mouth with his hand. They stood pressed against each other while the soldiers passed meters away. Her heart beat so fast against his chest that he feared the sound would give them away. When the patrol moved on, he let her go. My house is in the military village, 2 kilometers away, he whispered. If you run or scream, I shoot. Understood. Ha-eun nodded. She had just fallen from the sky, straight into the arms of the enemy. Life in the North Korean military village was a violent culture shock for the heiress from Seoul. Captain Ryung-gu's house was clean but Spartan. There was no running hot water. The refrigerator served more as a cupboard, as the electricity failed every night. And the worst part? No internet. How do you live like this? Ha-eun complained the first night, trying to light a candle. I need my skin serum. I need a latte. You need to stay alive, Ryung-gu replied, cooking corn noodles on a wood stove. Eat. It's what we have. Despite his coldness, Ryung-gu took care of her. He bought South Korean creams, women's clothes, and even coffee beans at the black market Jangamadang, paying exorbitant prices with his soldier's salary. But the secret didn't last. The neighbors, a group of gossiping ladies loyal to the party, noticed a female presence in the bachelor captain's house. One morning, they invaded the house with kimchi and questions. Who is this woman? Captain Im, asked the leader of the neighbors, looking suspiciously at Ha-eun, who was trying to hide behind a curtain. Before Ryung-ji could invent an excuse, a military jeep braked sharply outside. It was Lieutenant Cho, a corrupt state security officer who hated real. He entered the house with armed soldiers. I received reports of an intruder. Cho smiled, looking at Ha-eun. Papers, citizen! Ha-eun froze. It was the end. Ryung-gi stepped between them, blocking Cho's view with his broad frame. She doesn't carry papers on her, Ryung-gi said with absolute calm. She's my Fiancé. A shocked silence fell over the room. The neighbors gasped. You are Fiancé. Where is she from? With that Seoul accent, she is from Division 11! Ryung-gi lied, citing the elite spy unit that operated in the south. She just returned from a secret mission in Seoul. Her identity is classified. If you take her, you will have to answer to Pyongyang. Cho hesitated. Messing with Division 11 was dangerous. He backed off, but with a look that promised revenge. We shall see. When they left, the neighbors surrounded Ha-eun, delighted. Oh, a hero spy! And our captain's fiancé. That night, alone, Ha-eun roku Demilitarized. Jiyu Fiancé? She asked, blushing. It was the only thing I could think of, he said, avoiding her gaze as he prepared a bed on the floor for himself. He had given her his bed. Thank you, she said softly. Captain Data, you are a good man. Ryung-gi blew out the candle to hide that he was smiling. He was protecting an enemy of the state. But for the first time in years, his cold house felt like a home. To get Ha-eun out of the country, they needed a fake passport and a plane ticket to Europe. Departing from Pyongyang, Ryung-gi organized everything. They took the train to the capital. But the train, old and slow, broke down in the middle of the night, in the middle of a snowy field. The power went out. The heating stopped. Passengers got off and made bonfires in the field. Ryung-gi and Ha-eun sat together, sharing a blanket and a roasted potato. When you go back to the south, Ryung-gi said, looking at the stars, you must forget all this. Forget the village. Forget the fear. Forget me. How could I forget? Ha-eun asked, tears in her eyes. You saved my life. You made me coffee. You gave me your bed. She rested her head on his shoulder. I never met anyone like you in Seoul. Ryung-gi! There! Men want me for my money. Here! You protected me when I had nothing! Ryung-gi touched her hand under the blanket. He wanted to tell her he loved her. He wanted to ask her to stay. But he knew her place wasn't there. In the darkness and danger. Her place was in the light. The journey continued. They arrived in Pyongyang, got the passport. Ryung-gi would drive her to the security checkpoint, but Lieutenant Cho hadn't given up. He intercepted the plan. On the road to the airport, 3 armored trucks surrounded Ryung-gi's car. A shootout began. Ryung-gi was an elite soldier, but he was outnumbered. Get down! He shouted to Ha-eun, maneuvering the car. A sniper aimed at Ha-eun. Ryung-gi saw the reflection of the scope. He didn't think. He threw himself over her, covering her body with his. Bang! The bullet hit Ryung-gi in the back. He groaned and kept driving through sheer willpower until he lost the pursuers and reached a safe area. The car stopped. Ha-eun screamed, seeing blood soaking his uniform. You have to go, he whispered, his voice weak. The contact is waiting just ahead. Go! No! I'm not leaving you! You're dying! If you stay, we both die. Go! Ha-eun! Live! That is my order! Ha-eun looked at him. She looked at freedom a few meters away. And she made her decision. She didn't go to the contact. She grabbed the steering wheel, turned the car around, and drove like a madwoman to the nearest hospital in Pyongyang. She missed the flight. She lost the chance to go home. She chose to save the man she loved, even if it meant being arrested. In that operating room, donating her own blood for him, the contract of victim and protector broke. Now, they were just 2 lovers fighting against the world. Im Ryung-gu survived. When he woke up in the hospital and saw Ha-eun sleeping in the chair next to him, he was furious and, at the same time, felt the greatest love he had ever experienced. But the situation was unsustainable. Ryung-gi's father, a powerful general, discovered everything. He used his influence to cover up the case. eliminator tenancho and create one last escape route for Ha-eun. She would be secretly extradited across the military demarcation line in the DMZ, where agents from the south would be waiting. The day of farewell was gray. Ryung-gu drove her to the yellow concrete line that divided the two Koreas. On the other side, South Korean intelligence agents waited. They stopped. One step that way, and she would be home. One step this way, and he would be home. But they could never cross the line to be together. Don't look back, Ryung-gu said, holding back tears. Just go. Ha-eun wept openly. I will miss you. I will miss you every day of my life. She let go of his hand and crossed the line. But when she took 3 steps on southern soil, Ryung-gu couldn't take it. Ha-eun! He shouted. He ran. He ran. He crossed the forbidden line, invading southern territory, violating war treaties, risking being shot by both sides. He caught up to her and pulled her into a desperate hug. The southern agents drew their weapons. The northern soldiers readied their rifles. But no one fired. The love in that embrace stopped the war for a minute. I love you, he told her, kissing her. I will find you. As long as we are under the same sky, I will find you. They were separated by force. Ha-eun was taken to Seoul. Ryung-gu was taken back to the north. Epilogue. 1 year later, Switzerland. The only neutral place where North and South could meet without war. Ha-eun, now back in command of a company, traveled to Switzerland every year for a musical charity event she organized. She waited. She was walking through a green meadow with the Alps in the background when she heard it, a piano. Someone was playing a melody. A song Ryung-gu had composed for her during those dark nights in the village. Ha-eun ran, her heart in her throat. There, sitting at the piano, facing the lake, was him. He wasn't wearing a military uniform. He was wearing a civilian suit, elegant, the pianist he always dreamed of being. He stopped playing when he saw her. He stood up. Did you land in the wrong place again? He asked, smiling that rare, beautiful smile. No, Ha-eun said, running into his arms. This time, I landed exactly where I was supposed to. They kissed in the Alps, far from borders, far from guns. They only had 2 weeks a year together in Switzerland. But for them, those 2 weeks were worth more than a lifetime apart. Love had landed safely.